Last time we all were in this room together, we did something with Stan Lee. We're going to do it with Michael Dorn and Marina Sirtis as well. But first, let me bring on someone whose smile is just so engaging. Ladies and gentlemen, Marina Sirtis. Mr. Michael Dorn.
Which idiot made that video? Which idiot put the original theme song in the video? Stand up and show yourself, you moron.
Just in case you don't know, it's
I'm pissed.
Da 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 da.
You're obviously not a Star Trek fan. You know, I tell you now, don't piss me off. You don't want to see me when I'm angry.
See, you piss her off, and we have to calm her down.
Yeah.
It takes a while.
It takes a while.
And a couple of trips to Tiffany's.
It was like, oh, I can't say that, we're in Utah.
Say it!
Are there children in the audience?
No!
There are.
Send him out.
You know what? There's a big line
Of questions?
for questions.
There are.
So maybe we should go right to that.
Yes,
What do you
get
think?
started right away. Okay.
Let's start over there.
All right.
Hi, I'm Brenda.
Hi, Brenda.
And I was wondering, I've been hearing all weekend at how raucous your cast was when you were filming, so I was wondering if any antics or ad-libs ever made it on screen. Like, we've always been wondering during the cellular peptide cake scene with Michael, with you with your mouth full, saying with mint frosting, if it was like written that way originally, or I'm just curious about some of those things.
Now they always do this, and they like to stick me in the back, and they say, okay, Michael, you're sitting back there, and then just say the line. And I said, if you guys do that, I'm gonna act my ass off. I'm gonna do something back there, and that's what I came up with. And it was funny because Patrick was looking at Marina
When I was the cake.
when you're the cake, and when I said was with mint frosting, and Patrick turned around and he smiled. He didn't break, but he went like this. He went.
You know, that was absurd, that whole thing with the cake. The cake was supposed to be, in the script, a life-size version of Troy. With, you know, so it looked like my body. And what they said to me, the reason that they went and got a sheet cake from Costco and just decorated it like Costco. So my feeling is they're just a bunch of cheap bastards and they didn't want to pay for the cake. But their excuse was that it would be too gruesome for the younger audience if the cake was actually life-size. So they made this box for me to be in. So obviously I was sitting in a box with my head coming out the top, and I was in the box for hours, and they didn't put any ventilation in the box. Oh. So I'm in a sauna in the box, and Patrick kept coming by any minute now, darling, you can come out, you can come out. I mean, I must have lost 5 pounds in that box that day, honestly.
So you wanted to take the box home?
Oh yeah, exactly. Take the box. But I mean, the frosting was melting. I was getting so hot, the heat was coming up through the box and melting the frosting.
You know, I got to tell you, there's not a lot of stuff that gets on film that's ad-lib. Not at all. I mean, that little thing I did was ad-lib, but it was still the words that they gave me. So,
we weren't allowed to. We weren't allowed to ad-lib. If we wanted to change any of the dialogue, we had to make a phone call.
We had to,
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, dear. Brenda?
Hi, I'm Michael Kessman from Provo.
Hey.
I had a question about gargoyles. If you get a rabbit or live action, would you do the voice acting again? If they do the voice, or if they do Gargoyles rebooted series or live action, would you be interested in doing the voice work again for the Gargoyles?
I think we both would, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
I think if it was live action, though, they wouldn't cast us.
Thank you very much.
They're too old now, Michael.
I know.
I'm too old to be Demona now. And you know what? I'm not going to the gym to get that tiny little waist again. I'm too old now.
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Stephanie. I actually met you yesterday, Marina. And, this question is for Michael. I know you touched on this a bit during the big fan experience, but I know a lot of the people here didn't get to come to that. So it was about the prosthetic on your head, and I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about that.
The prosthetic on my head was a prosthetic on my head. It was a latex headpiece that was like a cap, a nose piece, and that was, they glued that down on the sides and up here, and then I had a, like I said, a nose piece that they glued on. Then they had a beard, little goatee, and the hair was glued on after all that. And the interesting thing about all that is when they did that, which was in 1986, 87, they hadn't changed makeup, how they did makeup, for like 50 years, 50 or 60 years. In fact, Mike Westmore, who did the makeup, his parents, you know, he's fourth or fifth generation of makeup artists, and they used the same thing. And nobody had done that much makeup on an actor every day. So they just were sticking it on there, and the second season, it got so bad because my skin was starting to burn and blister, and they had no intention of changing it. They were just like, you know, oh, this is all we can do, and they'd stick the nose on, and I'd be blistering, and it was really horrible. Until one day, I had had enough, but Marina said, look at your nose, it's blistering, You get up and you go in there and you tell them that they can't do this anymore. and me being the big doofus, I'm like going, well, you're right, you know. I got up there and I went into the office. I mean, I stopped the makeup process that day. And I said, guys, I called the producers, I said, we got to talk now. And so I went up there and I said, I love the show, I love the character, I love the people I work with, but I can't do this anymore because I need to have a career after this is over. And if this keeps up, I'm going to be scarred for life. It's not going to be pretty. And that's when they said, you know, I think we can change it, you know, after all that. And so that's what happened. And so they changed it. I mean, to their credit, they changed everything about it and got the process down from 3 hours down to about 1 hour and 45, 2 hours maybe. And they were very good about that, but it wasn't pretty for a while.
No, they didn't actually care. I mean, they really don't care about the actors. The actors are really the low. Hang on, I see a little red light. You can't videotape us, baby? Okay, thank you. Only because we might say something that we don't want all the world to know. Right? It's just between us here in this room. Thank you. So, the same thing happened with Brent and I, with the contact lenses. The first year, our contact lenses were painted by the makeup artist. I used to open up my lens case in the morning and the saline was black. And they would spend, those lenses spent more time in my eyes than they spent in the lens case. So, and Brent's was the same with the yellow. So between the first and second season, I said, this is not like, you know, Dornie, I'm not doing this anymore. You go to a proper optometrist, spend the money, and get us proper colored contact lenses. So they did that, and then so the second season, we put the lenses in, brilliant. The second day of filming, Brent comes up to me and he said, Marina, they want me to put the painted lenses back in because the new lenses aren't yellow enough. And I went, you're gold. It doesn't matter if they're not yellow enough. You're effing gold. Right? I said, phone them up. We're in the makeup trailer. Call them up on the phone right now and tell them if they want to be responsible for your eyesight and the lawsuit, you will put the original lenses back in. So he gets on the phone to David Livingston, right? Marina said I had to call you. They hated me at Paramount. They hated me, absolutely loathed me. They had a party when I left. In fact, at the wrap party, I don't know if you know this, at our wrap party, the very last season, my husband was working, so I took my agent with me, and literally for 2 hours, we walked in a circle like schmoozing, and I said, Chris, could we stop now? Could I stop work now and have a drink? And he said, well, Marina, you burned a lot of bridges. You know, so, but I did stick up for my peoples. I did.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Ashley.
Hi.
And my question, I want to fact check 2 things that Jonathan Frakes said about Marina. Well, he said one, you thought that Tom Riker was way hotter than Will Riker.
I did. Tom didn't kind of lean so much.
And then also he said that he and Michael microwaved your dog.
No, I didn't. You know, I used to have a little dog called Skilagi, which means little dog in Greek, right? Which is a really cute name in America, a really stupid name in Greece. Because when people say, well, what's your dog called? You go, dog. Okay. But my little Skilagi, you remember Skilagi. You loved Skilagi. He was your little 5. Actually, do you remember when I made you race him? I made Dorney race Skilagi, because Skilagi was the fastest Yorkshire Terrier on the planet. My husband used to ride his bicycle, and really fast, and the dog would race him and win. So I said to Dorney, I know you're a black guy, but my dog can run faster than me.
Yes, and I had to uphold the name of black guys everywhere.
But I did say, it's only because I couldn't explain to the dog that he had to race. But no, I actually...
I know, it's ridiculous. We're out in front of Marina's house, and I'm racing a Yorkshire Terrier up the street. And at the end of it, I won and I go...
Oh my God. Actually, you know what? Actually, it was Brent that pretended to put Skilagi into the microwave. Jonathan, I used to take him to the set with me. When he was first born, I used to take him in a little Easter basket. He was so, oh my God, my little dog. Don't make me cry. Anyway, so I took him onto the set one day, and I think I was talking to somebody on the set, and Jonathan picked up Skilagi, and he's like, oh, I'm like, oh, look, see, because the guys all pretended to hate him, but I knew they didn't. And Johnny picked up Skilagi, and I'm like, oh, there he goes. And then Dorney's up at his station, and I turn around for a second, and the next thing I hear is, Dorn, take it long! Go long! No wonder that poor little dog was neurotic. Thank you. Hello.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Morgan. I was wondering why you both wanted to do Star Trek.
Oh, good question. I was unemployed. And I auditioned 6 times for this job, and they said, you're guaranteed a year. And at that point, that would have been the longest job I ever had on TV. And also, I was an English theatre actress before I came to America, so I never earned any money to speak of. I just fancied earning some money for a change, being able to pay my bills and get some nice clothes, not from the thrift shop. So it was all financial with me. I'm sorry. He'll probably have. I've totally destroyed your faith in me now. But he's got a much better answer.
No, I heard that they were doing another Star Trek series, and so I called my agents and I said, look, I'd really like to go in and read for this thing. And they came back and they said, Michael, we're sorry, it's already cast, but we'll call you if something comes up. And they go, yeah, that's fine. And that was it, for a couple of weeks. And then I get a call and they said, oh, they want to see you as a part of a Klingon. And I go, wonderful. And my agents, both said, what's a Klingon? Didn't know. But I think all of us, everybody, I mean, if you were a fan of the show, I think LeVar was a fan of the show.
Oh, yeah.
I was a fan of the original show. So that was nice, but basically, I think we were all really happy to get a job, especially to get a pilot for a series, because it was, first of all, it was good money to do the pilot. I mean, I'm talking about, at that point, if I had $500 in the bank.
Oh yeah, we were rich, right?
Yeah. I could go out on dates for a whole month and food and everything, so it was a good thing. And also a pilot meant that there's a possibility that it would go on. But I think we all thought that, without thinking about the fans or anything like that, we just all thought, this is going to be cool. It'll go on for a couple of years, make a little money, and go on and do something else. And that's what we were thinking. So
we all thought we were going to do a year, and then so the next 6 years were like a bonus. You know what I mean? It's like, oh wow, look at this.
Totally.
Yeah, and 4 movies. I mean, it was. Listen, it turned out, although we didn't go into it with the expectations, it turned out to be the best job we ever had and will ever have. Okay. The biggest blessing, I think, in our lives was getting Star Trek. Yeah.
And also the thing is that there's the work, there's the financial reward, there's the the fans, which are this whole thing 25 years later is incredible. But I think the best part of all of it was the 7 of us, 6, 7.
It's hard to keep up. People kept leaving, coming back, leaving. Who the hell knows how many regular people
But it is the idea that we have these relationships that have been like close, and I don't mean like like people talk about being close, but we're really, really close for all these years, and still are. I mean, in fact, we think about doing these reunion conventions because we go, wow, it'd be great by then. Then we can have dinner and act up and be naughty and stuff.
None of us bring our significant others with us. Because we want to party just us. We're very cliquey still. I mean, we go to a party and by the end of the evening, we're all sitting in the corner with our backs to the rest of the room. We loved each other from day one, and it was just
well,
so
not from day one.
No, I didn't love you. No, I didn't love you at all. Actually, no, we hated each other. Yeah, you can tell the story.
Marina and I just hated each other. She thought I was like rough and surly and stuck up, and I thought that she was like just prissy and that English. Oh yes and no. Just couldn't stand each other for 1 year. And then her brother comes over from England, and she said, and I don't know why you and LeVar and Gates did this too. We didn't like each other, but she said, Michael, I heard you play tennis. Will you play tennis with my brother? And I go, yeah, as long as you're not around. And so I go pick him up, and we go play it, and I love her brother. We had such a ball. We were laughing and having a great time. And we go back, and I took him back, and she said, why don't you have dinner with us? Okay, great. And here's this woman, I don't know who she is, but she's in the kitchen cooking, you know? And would you boys like some more pasta? I'm like, where's Marina? What did you do with her? You know, that really mean, you know? And it was very interesting, and it's a very good lesson that you never judge. You never judge by the cover or by, you know, by what you see, you know, because I looked at her and I said, she is the nicest, she had the biggest heart, she takes care of her brother, I mean, it was amazing. I went, oh, okay, and from that moment we became
best friends. Besties, yeah.
Great story.
Yeah, besties.
My question's for Michael. I was wondering how your character might have felt about how Counselor Troy ending up with Commander Reiner.
Good question.
I thought that they had a missed opportunity because when Troy and Riker got together finally, you know, Worf was there, and I thought that they should have wrote something very interesting. I don't know what, you know, but like there was one scene where they're in the bathtub, and
you called on the phone.
And I called down there.
Not on the phone, whatever it is on the Enterprise, on the thing.
Yeah. And I said, Commander, they need you on the bridge or something like that. And I thought they should have just added, is Counselor Troy with you?
Actually, that was funny because in that was that an insurrection, that scene?
Yes.
Yes, yeah. So we're in that, okay, so you're thinking we're in this bubble bath, right? I don't know. The water was so disgusting. It was so filthy that they kind of, it was like a what do you call it?
Hot tub?
Jacuzzi. It was like a jacuzzi. So they turned the jacuzzi on to make bubbles, you know. But there was like this layer of film, slime on the top. It was disgusting. So Jonathan and I are sitting in this tub in this filth, and of course don't have a top on because I'm in the bath, right? And it's my friend, and he's like a brother to me, so I don't, and I'm English, I don't care. English actresses, as you know, English actresses take their clothes off at the drop of a hat. My feeling is, if it's good enough for Dame Helen Mirren, it's good enough for me. So I'm sitting there topless in the tub, but I'm covered by the bubbles. But of course, they only do the bubbles when we're about to shoot the scene. And at one point, I see Jonathan's eyes go like saucers. And I look down and the girls are out, you know, so...
You know, I thought...
But I did, actually, what they cut out of that scene, that was when he was talking to you, the razor that I was using to shave him, I started shaving my legs. But they cut that out.
You know, I thought I thought that the whole Worf-Troy thing was a Worf-Troy-Riker.
Yeah.
Not just Worf-Troy, but Worf-Troy-Riker was a good story, but they didn't take it far enough in terms of, you know, like how Worf felt about Riker and Troy, and he was my best friend on the show, and she was my ex, and all this type of stuff. So I think they kind of wussed out on it a little bit.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good question, though. Good question.
My name's Rachel. This question is from Marina. I was wondering if you loved chocolate nearly as much as Deanna Troy.
Yes, I do. But not milk chocolate.
Really?
I
actually have some for you.
Is that dark chocolate?
Yes, dark chocolate.
Oh, my favorite with the raspberry. Thank you. This is you actually got me my favorite chocolate. Because I have to say, dark chocolate and raspberry is my favourite combo. It really is. But you know what? Because really, if I had eaten as much chocolate as they wanted me to eat on that show, I would never fit in that spacesuit. So, what I used to do was I used to say, give me milk chocolate and a bucket. And I would eat the milk chocolate, and at the end of the scene, I'd spit it into the bucket. Oh, too much information. Okay.
But I could get you your favorite.
Thank you so much. Get your hand.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Beth, and I have a question for each of you about appearing on other shows. Marina, how did you feel about your role in the series finale for Enterprise? And for Michael, what was your motivation for joining the Deep Space Nine cast?
The thing that I enjoyed the most about doing the last episode of Enterprise, and it's kind of weird, I know, but I kind of felt that we were all there. I was there at the reboot, you know, obviously with TNG, of the reboot of Star Trek. And the very, very last shot on Enterprise was Jonathan and I leaving the holodeck. So we were there at the beginning, and Jonathan and I were there at the end, which kind of seemed fitting somehow. What was really funny was, I said, when they called me and said, would you do it? And they always, because I always used to say no when they asked me to put that spacesuit back on. And they said, would you do it? Jonathan's doing it. And I said, okay, if Jonathan's doing it, I'll do it, right? So I said, well, you have to find the wig. You have to find my wig. And they looked and looked and looked, and they couldn't find my wig. And because they are cheap so-and-sos over there, and they put me in that revolting, disgusting nylon piece of doo-doo. And it was horrible. And then when I was moving, I had the wig. I had taken the wig. I'd forgotten that I'd taken the wig. So that was my fault. But I was glad. The only thing was, they really didn't want us there. You know, the Enterprise cast, they weren't happy that we were there. And I don't blame them, because, you know, we would have been a bit miffed if they'd have brought on original cast members for our finale. You know, so I understood that. I mean, they didn't treat us badly, they were very nice to us. We just found out later in the press that they were a little upset about it.
Now when I got the word that they wanted me to when I got the word that they, you know, those are the cutest shoes, I gotta tell you. Those are the cutest shoes. Anyway, when I got the word, it was very interesting how it happened, because it was 95, and I was in, what are you doing? You're just mugging like crazy back there.
I am. This is so delicious.
I'll just wait.
No, it's dark chocolate with real pieces of raspberry in it.
No. I mean, I know how you like dark chocolate. Anyway, it was 95, and I was doing this video game in Boston or Baltimore, and I get the call. And up until that point, I said, you know, people would ask me about, would you do that again? No, I'll never do that. I'll never get into makeup again. No, forget it. No way, I'll never, that's done, that's it. And so I'm sitting there and I'm going, no, I wouldn't do that. You know, and I get a call from the producer. And he says, Michael, I want to ask you a question. What is it? He says, would you consider coming back to the show? I said, well, you know, how much? But that is, it was, to me, couldn't have been a better time, because number one, they called me, and Marina, you know this, when people, producers, TV shows, when they call you and say, we want you for this, you're in a position that a lot of actors never find themselves, which is in a position of power, which means is that you can negotiate from a position of, hey,
you want me?
You want me? I don't need you. You know, I mean, it's all this negotiation. My lawyer and I were salivating because this is going to be really fun. But two things were actually in my mind also, which is, it was a wonderful challenge because number one, I knew that they wanted me to come back because the show wasn't doing very well and they wanted to have, you know, to get a boost.
Yeah, well, until you came on, it really was Deep Sleep 9, wasn't it?
And also, you know, so that was a challenge because if you came on and it worked out, you know, you're a hero, it worked out really well, but if you came on and it didn't, then you're just an overpaid, you know, schmo. And the third thing that I loved was the idea that I was able to go and tell them, to the producer, say, look, if you want me to come back, that's great. I'd love to do it, but I don't want Worf to be standing around. I don't want him to come back and just be a guy that you stuck back there, just say, hey, look, we got Worf, and he just is in the background. I say he really has to open up stories. He has to have 3 or 4 stories a year at least, where it's just about him. And also, you can't put me in makeup 5 days, you know. So that's why I came back. And they were very good. They said okay to all those things.
Yeah.
So it was very good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi. So my question for you, Marina, was I just wanted to know, in your opinion, who was a better kisser, Dorn or Franks?
That they're the only 2 I kissed.
You just narrowed
it to 2. Okay, because I have kissed all my boys. And I have to say,
did you kiss Brad?
I've kissed you all. I mean, no tongues, obviously, but you know, full on the mouth,
It wasn't really.
It wasn't a snog.
No.
Do you know what a snog is? Yeah. No. Oh yeah, because you all watch Doctor Who, you know. They're all very good kissers. But I will say that Dorney wins in the luscious lips department. I have to say that, because he will strike me. No, he's a great kisser. He's a great kisser. But you know, when we kissed for the first time in that scene with, I think when we first got together, right? It wasn't the parallel universe one. No, it was the real universe. Yeah. We don't remember the names of any of the episodes. Don't ask us. So I said to him, first of all, you've got to take your teeth out. I'm not kissing him. I'm not getting lacerated lips with those teeth in. And because he is my best friend, it's kind of weird kissing your best friend, right? It's weird. So we would rehearse the scene, and then we'd get to the kissing part, and we'd kiss. Go, oh yeah, then we kiss. Okay, fine. But then we actually had to do the take, and so we had to kiss. So we started, you know, snogging. This one, he starts making these animal noises. These strange noises while we're kissing, right? So when the director said cut, I said, Dorney, was that you or was that Worf? And this one, it's typical, just smiled enigmatically and walked away.
This one's for Michael. If you could be in any movie, what would it be?
If I could be in any movie, what would it be? God, there's so many. Probably the first Godfather. Why? I think it was the most perfect, best movie ever made. Thank you.
I've been Steel Magnolias. I love Steel Magnolias.
You know, the only reason she would be in Steel Magnolias is that so she could cry.
Yes. I'm going to say, because Dolly Parton has a line in that movie which totally encapsulates me. And she says, laughter through tears is my favourite emotion. Right? And that is my favourite emotion, laughter through tears. And in that wonderful, the scene at the cemetery where they're burying, you know, at Julia Roberts' funeral, where you're crying along with Sally Field, and then Shirley MacLaine comes in and they do that whole thing, hit her, and you're laughing and crying at the same time, and I just think that's perfect. I think that's perfect. Yes.
Hi, my name is Buck, and I'm a huge fan. I love seeing...
Buck? Did you say Buck?
Buck, B-U-C-K, Buck.
Is that you were baptized Buck?
No, well, it's a nickname.
Okay. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if you were baptized Buck.
Oh, okay.
Because you're a weird lot in this country.
But yeah, I'm a big fan. I loved seeing Worst Extension in DS9, see so much more character build. I felt that there was a lot more they could have done with your character, Marina, and I wish they had.
Oh shit, yeah.
Still, what you did perform and give was incredible, and I'm a big fan.
Thank you.
What I did want to ask was, and I know that a lot of actors, when they invest so much time in a character, that they spend so much heart and effort in, a lot of times they talk about coming away with aspects of those characters in their own lives. So I was just wondering if, from the characters you both played, what aspects affected your lives of those characters?
You're assuming, I have to kind of, yeah. You're assuming that we're method actors. We're not. We're not method actors. He was assuming that we're method actors. No, we were ourselves, laughing and joking until the director said action. And then when he said cut, we went back to being ourselves. We're not the kind of actors who stay in character. So no, we don't. I mean, did I take anything away? Well, you know, she's. I am now a psychologist by osmosis. Because I played one for 7 years. I think that qualifies me to be a psychologist.
No, it's not a psychologist. You're just a big fat know-it-all.
Oh, yeah. Or a big fat know-it-all. Yes. Did you take anything away from your character?
No, I didn't actually.
I stole some spacesuits. Does that count?
And the win!
I didn't. I loved my character. I thought he was. I think he was. The only thing that I recently thought about was that, you know, life is a journey, and I think that's what Worf finally discovered, is that life is a journey, and it's not a destination. So that's right. That's what I take away. Thank you.
Highway. That's right.
Hi, my name is Adam, and Marina, I've been wanting to tell you since 1987.
Yes, my darling.
You were my very first crush.
Oh, I'm going to give you a kiss.
I wanted some of that.
Yes, Adam.
Very cool.
And I just wanted to ask you, Marina, what was it like finally getting into an actual Starfleet uniform?
Oh, that was the best. That was the best. Because, you know, I always felt like I wasn't one of the crew, especially in that bloody green dress. I hated that dress because it was all in one piece. It was a leotard with the skirt sewn on the top. So I had to get naked to go to the loo.
I thought when you got in, you looked really good.
I did, because it was really flattering, because it had, you know, a little bit of shoulder pad and the way it was shaped.
And the hair was like, not wild, but it was like...
And the hair wasn't bigger than me, for once. I mean, there were seasons my hair was bigger than me. But did y'all notice how when I used to faint, I fainted a lot, to be honest. When I used to faint, my hair would like fan around my head horrifically. 3 years of drama school in England to learn how to do that.
I would she'd faint or fall or something like that, and I'd be standing over and go say, how do you do that? You know?
No, that was my favourite. My favourite was my spacesuit. So I was very happy when, you know, Captain Jellicoe said, go put a spacesuit on, right?
Go put some proper clothes on.
Go put some proper clothes on. You know, we were, you know that we were basically just trying out a new captain just in case Patrick wanted too much money the next season, right?
Is there one more?
Yes.
Sorry. What I love about the series is its social statement that touches on race, feminism, and arguably LGBT issues. What are some of your thoughts on Star Trek's and even your characters' impact on social issues like these?
Well, you know, TNG was, well, most of Star Trek was, we did little morality plays every week. And going to the I never get the initials in the right order, LGBT, I've often had people say to me, why weren't there more gay people on Star Trek? And I actually asked Gene this question, and he said, how do you know they're not? Right? How do you know that those people sitting there, you know, in 10 forward aren't a gay couple, you know? It's not like they wear a sign. You know, so that to me was great. And we did touch on some issues in certain episodes. The thing is that you have to remember that although we were doing a show about the 24th century, it was for the most part written by 20th century men.
Yeah.
So bear that in mind. And not just ordinary men, Hollywood men.
Well, and I think that I was a fan of the original show, and the morality plays that they did every week were very sort of basic morality plays. You could identify, you know, the Russians. You could identify racism. You could identify sexism. You could identify all these things very clearly. And I think what happened is that with Next Generation, which I love. They were morality plays, but they were more complicated than the original show. I mean, our morals and the things we grew up with, and even in the late 80s, there was a lot of things were very complicated. And I think they dealt with those pretty good. And you know, a guy asked a question the other day, which was a great question, about pushing the envelope. How would you push the envelope in Star Trek, you know? And I said, don't push the envelope, just write a play, write a morality play, you know, just do good stories. And you don't have to worry about all the other stuff. And I think that that's what, like I said, that's how Star Trek is, and what its appeal is, that you can ask every person in this room why they love it, or why they watch it, or why they're fans, and you get a different answer. And that's what it is. And I think that's what good storytelling is, or good writing, or good directors who, you know, they'll direct something and a whole range of people will get something different out of it. I think it's really...
I think we have to do last question now.
No, we're done.
Oh, we're done? Okay. If we're done, I just want to say before we go, and some of you may, if you've seen me before, may have heard me say this before, but I'm not going to stop saying it. I think sometimes people in show business forget exactly why they have the blessings that they have in their lives. And the reason we are blessed the way we are is because you guys turned on your TV sets for 7 years and went to see 3.5 movies. Because you know, it's actually your fault we got cancelled, because you just didn't go and see Nemesis enough. So I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you for everything I have in my life, but it's because everything I have in my life is because of you, all the good things. My husband, my friends. Michael wants to thank you for his aeroplane. And I know that our cast especially, we appreciate you more than you realise. We know we owe everything to you. So God bless you, and a happy Easter, everybody.